It's going to be a bumpy night.
What's going on, everybody? This is the Laugh Bunker podcast. My name is Josh. Glad to be back. We took, 2 weeks or so off?
We took 2 weeks of a sabbatical, a spiritual sabbatical.
Yeah,
we prayed for all our listeners that they would even listen to this, shows that how depraved they are.
It's glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. Feeling better. You're looking good. And let's start the show, man. So everything's good with you, man? You didn't
it's been a very busy couple weeks. And the truth is, it was nice. We met right before Easter. So we went on Easter service. We went outside. I have a hard time being outside in church. I don't know what it is, but anyway,
was the service is held outside?
It was in a tent outside of the mission, which turns out it's right by my house. And I love the Catholic Church for the holidays. Nobody does the holidays better. Jewish people are right up there too. They crank it out pretty hard. Muslims are more committed. They do 40 days, so they make everybody look weak. But the truth is, I love the whole thing. Growing up, obviously we went to Good Friday service and everything. But anyway, we had a nice time, and then we went out for breakfast and just hung out, my wife and I, that day. It was really nice, and it was a warm day, because when you're out east, there's not a lot of warm Easters.
Yeah.
I mean, you got, you have your nice clothes on, but they're under a parka. So anyway, did you have a good holiday?
The Easter holiday wasn't bad. Had some family over, some food, took it easy, kept it pretty relaxed. And then spent the last couple of weeks. Just kind of working on things, physically working on things, trying to get better. And overall doing pretty good.
How's your back feeling?
Back's coming along. It's not bad. I've been doing, we talked about it before we started recording. I was doing kind of like a normal workout routine last week. Felt like I wasn't getting back into shape and starting to feel pretty good, but I was wanted to get some other results, feeling still a lot of tension, a lot of stress, a lot of tightness in certain areas, and especially in my neck. And so started working more on the stretching and the flexibility, like we talked about like before, doing that, kind of focus on that all this week. So doing pretty good, man. All in all, trying to take it easy and just working on certain things physically and mentally, and things are coming along. So it's not getting worse, getting better for the most part. So.
Well, you just have to be progressing. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Do you have any of those exercise bands?
I have a couple. I have like there's like these like red, like they're like, I guess they're like bands. I don't know, which ones are you talking about?
Well, the ones that I would have never used anything like this over a year ago before the pandemic. Tom Brady was doing these bands, and I thought, really? Yes, you've got 7 Super Bowls, but your arms, I could floss with them.
Yeah.
So, but my wife had all these from her dance classes, and they're the ones with the handles, and some are really pretty strong.
Oh, okay.
And so I incorporated them.
Yeah, I have
workout.
I have a pair. Yeah.
I'm telling you, these are the best stinking things. I would have not done them before, but I spent a year doing a lot of lateral pulls, a lot of delt work, different things, a lot of triceps, just different things that I would have not normally used them for. And I think this last year of doing that, along with the martial arts stretching, definitely added. It's going to add years to my ability to maybe climb or do cool things outside. So it's just something about the way they work the joint and the flexibility with some strength.
Yeah,
I will say I was 100% wrong. And I would say it's the best thing I can put into my workout. And even going to the gym now, I'm noticing that I'm not putting the time in. And even when I go to stretch, I can just tell there's a little less flexibility. So I'm probably going to have to start my mornings with it. But it is a fact.
Yeah.
I had a friend years ago, and he said to really be fit, you need to put an hour of cardio, an hour of strength, and then an hour of activity that puts both together, whether it would be your MMA or different things. And he's right, because it is not, you're not going to go do 45 minutes and think you're going to be fit. It's cumulative.
Yeah.
And being back in the gym has been nice. It's nice to see the old community of friends.
Okay.
And it's very empty.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful. That's
what I hear. Yeah. My brother-in-law has been going back, and he said that it's not a lot of people, that everybody's kind of spread out. You just have to wear your mask or whatever. That's the most annoying thing, but it's, for the most part, they they clean it. Everything's clean. Everything is not a lot of people, and it's not like it used to be. So, I mean, yeah.
So definitely it's all part of it. And, I love being wrong, and making no mistake. I'm not the brightest guy, but when I see something that I know is phenomenal, or that can really alter anything to the positive, I steal it and use it. And I would highly recommend it to anyone out there for fitness. It's part of, in the old days, we were either injured, working on recovering, or working on our next one, because we didn't do the flexibility. We're just lifting as heavy as we could. It was more macho, it was ego driven. And now at my age of almost 59, man, I don't give a shit what I do in the gym. I go there, I crank out what I want. I come home. I don't have to be, there was a time, okay, if you're working your bench, you got to hit the bench twice a week. And if it's not getting that, it's stressful to go to the gym. Am I going to get the bench? Oh my God, how long are you going to be on there?
Yeah.
Are your yoga pants going to explode? Is your battery long enough? I went to the gym today. I always pick up the gym, and I pick it up for the older lady who is the housekeeper, because why should she move stuff?
Yeah. Oh, so at your hotel, the gym that they have there?
No, at LA Fitness.
Oh, okay. So, it's like pick up after yourself.
Yeah, I've always, if you didn't, and so I'm always doing it. Plus, it's part of work capacity. I don't believe in stopping.
Yeah.
If I'm just walking, my heart rate's up. And how much does that add up to burning calories and fitness? And then if you're doing nothing, if you're sitting on your ass, as soon as you sit on your ass, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
If you're doing max bench, squat, deadlifts, I get it.
Yeah.
You do need 2 to 3 minutes, because that's the maximum recovery of muscle. So I'm picking up, and the lady said, "Why do you pick up?" I said, "Well, number one, it's respect to other people. Number two, it's respect to you, because why should you pick up other people's weights? That's not part of your job."
Yeah.
And number three, I was at a gym in Chicago where none of these people would be allowed there. We had a private gym in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was pretty restricted. But there was a couple guys from the neighborhood we let in, believe it or not. And it was more ministry based, because everybody at the gym was part of a church. But you didn't leave your stuff around. Yeah. And when you get that kind of mentality in that gym, the pressure, down about 4 blocks from where we live in Chicago is really interesting. We lived in this area, but if you went to 4 blocks over was the street. And on one side of the street was the governor's mansion, Blagojevich, the guy who went to prison, remember? Yeah. So his is on this, and the next side is like, dude, it is like, I ain't going there.
What?
It's all gangs. It was all gangs.
Governor's mansion is.
Yeah, it was on the street. Yeah.
Wow.
So Chicago is really in clumps of rich and poor, like within miles.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Bam, bam, bam. On the south side of the city, you go by University of Chicago. Some of the most majestic houses in the world. And 3 blocks over, man, you read the news in Chicago.
Yeah.
So, it's just tough. So, anyway.
Like with USC, everybody talks about
totally.
USC is so, highly regarded or whatever, especially in the area. And then just you go the next block over and you run into gang territory. You run into
in this
bad areas.
On the other bad area where the gangs were, they had an outdoor gym, and we used to go down there.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, when you're big and strong, you get respect. And we would go down there and work out. And then there was a church 3 blocks the other way. Well, it would be not 3, it would be 7 blocks the other way. Uptown Baptist, the church that we got married in.
Yeah.
Though we were not part of the church, that's where the service was held. They had a gym that they would open up at night because somebody's gym closed and they would open it up for the neighborhood. And it was so incredible. And we talk about, if you want to do something for people in America, then people should have free gym memberships. That should be part of stuff, because that's the number. How many companies, you get a deal. You get cheaper healthcare companies if you have people work. I just thought, you know what? We need gyms for access to every people, because it builds community, it builds respect, it just builds every positive thing.
What I'm seeing a lot in some of the neighborhoods around here is obviously you heard, there's Planet Fitness, which is fairly affordable, but you're not getting the.
I see a lot of Planet.
I've never been inside,
but not a lot of fitness.
Yeah. And then I think there's a kind of like a smaller chain that's also in Pico Rivera, not too far away from here. And
Crunch?
No, it's not Crunch. It's like even smaller, lesser known than Planet Fitness. But it's like a affordable one. It's like $9 a week or a month or whatever it is. So yeah, I don't know. It would be nice if there was like a chain that was free, that was like a public kind of thing. But even you can go like to YMCA. Public.
But what happened? Vouchers. Right. We give vouchers for food. We need to give vouchers or food stamps, or to help people who can't. Hey, fitness is everything, and it just creates there's nothing negative about it, and everyone's invited, and it just gives you this concept of, I don't know, like I say, going back to the gym.
No, they should do that. That'd be good.
No, I think it's you know what? I'm going to write a letter to Biden.
Yeah,
President Biden.
I think that's that's the thing that they should incorporate with
and he should have me run it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, who would be better?
Yeah.
What would I be?
You would be I don't know. What would you be?
Czar? Fitness czar?
Fitness czar. Yeah.
I'm on board 100%. Yeah. Anyway, it was good to be back at the gym. It was good to see some old friends, some sad stories from old friends.
Oh, especially probably
everyone's left unscathed, and so, but still, it was a good time. And it's been nice to just handle some weight. Yeah. But more importantly, it's nice. First, it's empty. That's so wonderful. But number two, it's great to see the old community. It's like going down when we went to Moses's on Saturday. And Daniel and Carlos showed up.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I haven't seen those guys for a couple of years. I saw Corey on a hike around December, and we just hung out and we had a great time. Yeah. And they discussed some things they want to do with a podcast and different things. And they did get this big room dropped in the backyard, which was phenomenal.
How did it look? How was the setup or the structure?
Dude, it would be an incredible podcast structure.
Let's go.
It's right on. And what they've got going is phenomenal. I don't understand. It was a little convoluted it just kept going, the conversations, different things.
Yeah, because you have people that may or may not even be involved, also
and I don't know what the vision is, whatever, but it was cool to hang out. It was cool to truth is, the Carlos guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what, that guy, I want to do something with him.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna be scripted, but he's so quick and so great. And it was cool to see Daniel. Yeah. I haven't seen him last time I saw him was at Ramon's right after I left.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time. And so we had a good time. It was really nice. And it's between that and the gym, it was it was just fun.
Yeah. Everybody's doing good though.
Yeah. I mean, they don't know what's going on. I mean, the Service Express is back.
Okay.
Or at least Patricia.
Yeah, I heard some of them might be back.
And Lisa are back.
Okay, good.
And then but then with the Bellmen, they had a couple meetings, but I don't know what the deal is with that or whatever. But anyway.
I'm sure they'll be back, gloves and mask and all that stuff, but I'm sure
Well, right now, they have security running, so
Yeah,
it does change. If you're dropping certain salaries to do one
yeah,
process.
yeah.
And the truth is, when Todd's office was right next to where new car rental was,
Mm-hmm.
there he had more control. It was a better security needs to be in a focal point of that area, no matter what,
Yeah,
especially in the area. And plus, for the safe, guests feel good. Guests feel good when you're standing there.
yeah,
They really do. It just takes everything off their mind. And plus the guest service aspect of it, really reaching out to the guests, that was always my favorite part. That's why I hung
yeah,
out in the lobby all the time.
yeah,
I mean, I didn't stay in the office and watch cameras, because if I'm having any problems, it's probably coming through my front door.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just more fun. And hanging out, I always hung out with Daniel and then Carlos. And Carlos followed me, went with me many times to do the open mic.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
cool.
the first time we did it, it was at the West Side Comedy Club. He's an improv person,
Got it. Okay, okay.
but he's totally connected with Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, like total. So I was like, why not do some sketches and send it to him?
yeah. Hmm.
So I did talk. So I did go stop by the Sierra Madre Playhouse and went ahead and asked if I'm going to do that roof section for him and then have access to use that stage one time. So that's something I really want us to think about, because
Yeah, of course.
there's an opportunity there to do something cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
But anyway, other than that, life is life, just working out,
Yeah.
hanging out. Not much is going on. I get my first vaccine shot
Which one are you
tomorrow.
getting?
Oh, it's the Maduro one.
Okay, that's okay. I mean, I've heard a couple of people I know have gotten that one. A lot of people I know have gotten that one.
Well, I think it's the number one. I
Yeah.
wanted the 5, but see, the thing is that with the 4-week window,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to just push it off, because I'm not. It would come right in the middle of Venice, and I'm not
yeah,
gonna get my second shot and then go down to Venice. That's for sure not.
yeah,
Now, a lot of people say they get a sore shoulder.
yeah. Usually,
So,
either first or second, you feel a little ill for like 24 hours, and then either the first or second shot, yeah, your arm is sore. So for like a
I'm
couple
gonna
of
go to the gym beforehand.
days. Yeah, do those on your do it on your day off of work
So I
time.
am. Well, I got to work. I'm gonna get it and we
Or
work
like
all
in terms
night
of
then.
working out, instead of like lifting or any of that stuff.
No, and then I was gonna go do some painting work on Thursday, and then I was supposed to maybe go do massive hike on Friday, but
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'm gonna play it by ear and see how I feel.
Okay. Cool. Awesome.
But anyway, what's nice is when I went to Mass for Easter, they had a sign up, so I'm getting the shot, a 5-minute walk.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that to me is worth everything, to not
Yeah.
drive for somewhere,
So it's the place you're getting at is
Is at
right
the
near
Mission.
oh, cool.
And I live right by there. So I
Yeah,
live
yeah.
like 1, maybe 3 blocks away. So
Yeah.
I'm just totally psyched about not driving and going. The girl at work, though, both girls at work had it, and they both didn't feel 100%.
Same
Like
Moderna?
6 to 8 hours. Yeah. They both
Okay.
had real sore shoulders and just felt,
Yeah.
that weird.
I've heard the same thing. Yeah.
So anyway, I want to make sure my arm's really sore before I get it,
Yeah.
because I want to show it that it's weak and then it can't beat me. That I just mocked it by working out first.
Yeah.
And I might work out afterwards and work
Yeah.
shoulders on purpose. I probably won't. But anyway, so other than that, you good?
Yeah, good. This past weekend, we talked
After I
about it a
rambled
little
on for
bit.
an
Yeah.
hour?
No. This past weekend, baptized my son on Saturday. Had some family over, mostly my mom and them stopped by and just to say hi, and we had some food.
What did you have to eat?
Mainly my wife's family came over. A lot of her family came over. We ordered this place called Tom's Tailgate. It's over in, I think, La Habra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
You
it's
said Tom's Tailgate.
Tom's
right?
Tailgate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a small spot over there. It's family owned. Although the whole family kind of works out of there, and so the reason we ordered there is, one, because it's good, and then we know the people who own it. So my cousin's cousin, his wife's family's place. So they've owned it for a long time. It's good food. Kind of, it's Mexican style grill, but it's like, fresh. And the reason they even started the business, because the dad, Tom, big USC fan, would always do tailgates and kind of do big cookouts, and then charge people for, like, after a while he started charging people for like a plate, like, hey, you want to come over, eat $5-6, whatever it may be, and you come in and you just have at it, grab a full plate of whatever you want. They do like carne asada and all the chicken and everything. So the food's really good, really fresh, and eventually he turned that whole tailgate thing into an actual restaurant, and then called it Tom's Tailgate. So
that's probably a high percentage of restaurants probably start out of that.
Yeah.
Really think about it.
Yeah.
Just something you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, so what did you have though?
We ordered chicken, carne asada, al pastor, and then beans, rice, and then we had tortilla and all the toppings. And then it was cool. The ceremony, in terms of like the baptism, was really nice. It was maybe like an hour
How
long.
old is that church?
It's been around for a long time. I
So
mean,
is it kind of monolith, majestic inside, very beautiful, or more modern?
It's more modern, but it's really nice. It was St. Alphonsus, which I think it's Monterey Park area. Yeah, really nice. Ceremony was short. It was maybe an hour long or so. A couple of kids and their families were doing the whole baptism along with us, so one at a time, and it was really nice. Really good. Came back, and then we're glad to have it done. We weren't meaning to have it done. We were planning to do it like last year. COVID hit, kind of pushed everything back. The churches are still trying to figure out how they're going to operate things and do things. So we actually did it inside. It wasn't an outside thing. They did have a mass going on that just finished when we got there, and it was all outside under a big giant tent, chairs and everything. So
you were inside though, right?
We were inside. Yeah.
Nice.
When it happened. Yeah.
Like I was saying, the Easter service was outside, and God honors my observance and obedience, but I just couldn't I'm like looking around, and the cars are driving by, and it's just it was hard for me to. I'm so OCD, you know what I mean? So I'm all over the place. And anyway, so did that's interesting.
Yeah. So all in all, it was pretty good. It was
and Michael Corleone didn't show up this time, right?
Yeah, no.
Good. Yeah, it's when he sits around, when he's there, it's just uncomfortable. I've always felt uncomfortable, because I don't know if my Italian food's up to his standards, and if you're not up to his standards, it's not good.
Yeah. Well, with that, let's get into some of the things we've been watching, because Godfather and that whole baptism scene when everybody's getting killed. That was definitely in my viewing of the week. So,
I had a couple. Okay, because we're going over a couple weeks. It's hard for me to. There were a couple things that were very interesting. After we had talked about Barabbas, I rented it and watched it.
Okay, cool.
And it was Anthony Quinn.
Yeah.
And really, it's one of my favorite biblical movies. And I did some research on Anthony Quinn. He got 4 Oscar nominations, and he won in the movie with Marlon Brando.
Which one was
over Marlon Brando's best? He won for Via Zapata, about the Mexican Revolutionary.
Okay.
That was directed by Elia Kazan, who directed Brando and On the Waterfront.
Yeah.
And so I watched it. It's incredible. There's, man, these guys with their black and white film, they nailed it in the old days. It seems even going to the 4K screen, it was magical. And this is sets they built. This ain't, they did shoot a lot of this overseas, but I mean, certain elements of it, they like the Coliseum and different things.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it was really good. And who Elia Kazan, a lot of people didn't like him because he gave names during the blacklist of the 50s.
Oh, okay.
And he was part of the group theater which then turned into the actor studio that he ran.
Yeah.
So he gave up names of people who were supposedly
communists. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was kind of blacklisted for a while. In fact, a few years ago, and I couldn't tell you the exact amount of time, he got an honorary Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was the Ivan Thalberg or an honorary Oscar, and people in the audience turned their back. Some of the older people. So there was still, but a lot of people say that he was one of the great directors.
Yeah.
And when I moved to LA, I did Craigslist used to have massive work. Back in 2007. I mean, I got great paying industry gigs and stuff. It was unbelievable. Yeah. So I built a set at the Olympia Theater down in not Santa Monica, but on the west side between Santa Monica and Venice.
Yeah.
And the guy who designed the set, they were doing the Sunshine Boys. And the guy, the famous movie, Sunshine Boys. Yeah. So they, the dude who was Harold Linden from the famous cop show, can't think of the name of it. Abe Vigoda was on the show. It was the big cop. My brain's not working. Big cop show.
Talking about Godfather, huh?
Yeah. So
I don't know. I don't know what show that would be.
The set designer was the professor of set design from USC.
Okay. And
I stole stuff from him. I mean, I learned so much stuff. But the director of it was, man, my brain. I can't think of his name, but he put out some of those big shows. He put out the show with Joan Collins that was real popular in the 80s. Dynasty.
Okay.
That was his show. He was married to Eva Marie Saint, who won the Oscar with Brando and On the Waterfront. So I had a chance to meet her. So he takes me up to meet his wife. She must have been 80s, 90s, who knows how old, but just so glamorous. And I went up and I said, "Oh, it's such a pleasure to meet you." And she said, "Don't ask me about Marlon Brando." Because I guess every single person who's young who comes up says, "What was about Marlon Brando?" But anyway, it was a great, he's a great director. He's done some great movies. And so I watched that. And then I watched a little bit more of the Comedy Store doc.
Yeah.
I watched
which episodes?
I watched them all.
Okay.
I've watched them all 3 or 4 times. We'll talk about that in a minute because you had watched that.
Yeah,
also.
I watched that too. Yeah.
And then I watched Lenny with Dustin Hoffman and Valerie Perrine, the Bob Fosse movie about the famous comic.
Yeah.
Excellent. Talk about some incredible cinematography. It is just, and that Valerie Perrine, she's just spectacular. And Bob Fosse, his eye for everything. It's like, so every movement is almost a dance, even though it's normal movement.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And then I watched Howard's End with my wife.
Okay.
The famous Anthony Hopkins, Emma Thomas movie.
Yeah. Is that on what streaming service did you watch that on? Was that like Amazon? I think I saw that.
My wife doesn't, I don't know if she has so Netflix? Many. I couldn't tell you what no, it wasn't Netflix. No? I think it was Amazon. But my pick of the week.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite thing I have seen so far this year. And you're going to laugh. Doctor Who, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember it being on in the 70s and 80s. I never watched it, whatever. But
it's I think it's a long running series. Like
yeah. So this was the guy who's in it is the 11th Doctor, and it's Matt Smith from Crown. The girl is the red-haired girl, Karen Gillan.
Yeah.
I have a story about her.
She's on
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, huh?
So this episode is about Vincent Van Gogh.
Okay. Yeah, no,
the actor who plays it, this what's his name? Tony Curran. He also was in, I guess, Ray Donovan, which I don't remember. He stood out to me, but this guy just nails it. And there's a moment in this at the end that will punch you in the gut like Forrest Gump. It is because when Van Gogh sees what his work meant and they take him to the future.
Yeah.
And the guy who's running the gallery is Bill Nye. You know who I'm talking about. I love the British guy. He's just incredible.
Yeah.
And so he's talking. So Doctor Who over here is Karen Gillan and Van Gogh, and Doctor Who says, "What do you to this Bill Nye who's running everything? What do you think?" And then he gives us he's the best artist ever. But it is so powerful.
Yeah.
And it just blows you out of the water. It's just like, to me, it was like Queen's Gambit at that end. It really was great. And guess who wrote it? Guess who wrote it?
Who wrote it?
Richard Curtis, who then went on to do my favorite movie, About Time. You know, Love Actually, Bridget Jones' Diary. This was his kick into all those movies. So, and it's rated in one of the top 2 or 3 of the Doctor Who episodes.
Yeah.
So we always say, what's it about? The writing.
Yeah.
And so it just, that to me was, you know, and I'm okay. That's from 2 weeks ago.
Well, I mean, still, but we haven't done an episode since.
I've watched the ending many times. It hits me every time. So that really is not just my pick of the week. That's my pick of the year so far. And I worked at I was concierge at the condo that Karen Gillan lived.
Okay.
And so she would come in. She's really tall. And so I just bullshit with everybody. So, hey, how you doing?
She doesn't look tall, so she's
5'11".
Okay, yeah.
So you put 5'11" on heels.
Yeah.
Taller than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but she was very gracious, and she gave me a phenomenal gift at Christmas time. So she was just cool talking. So anyway, she was going to go shoot a movie with John Travolta and Ethan Hawke. It was some Western movie. It didn't get really released, whatever. So she was talking about it. And I said, when you see Travolta, just somehow use the term JT, damn it. Because that's one time he said something when I worked for him. And I said, you're John Travolta, damn it, just do what you want. Who cares? You know, it was some stupid decision. Yeah. So when they did the read, whenever that was, he had said something or whatever, and at the table read, whether they were going over lines or the script, and she said, well, you're John Travolta, damn it, just do what you want. Yeah. And he said, she said, his head kind of went, he said, where did you hear that? Or why would you say it? She goes, I know Paul. And he went, how do you know him? So it was this funny thing, but it made his head twist. More importantly in the story is that she was a very nice person. And that to me is the ultimate thing about Hollywood. Yeah. And
that's a cool story. Yeah.
That's she was really just cool. Yeah. But that was way before Guardians of the Galaxy and the whole deal, whatever. Yeah. You know what?
Now she's a big, she's a pretty big star.
I always, when you see people and they don't use their natural accent in movies, and then you hear them, it's like, you're not real. Who are you?
Is she Irish or is she Scottish?
She has an accent, and I'm not going to say which one it is because I don't know. Yeah. But let's just say that I didn't hear it in Guardians of the Galaxy.
She's Scottish. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got like the blogger. Yeah. Well, you know who else is Scott? Oh no, she's Irish. Is Saoirse Ronan. Yeah. That girl's a pretty good actress too.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is.
So the last thing in the last week to finish up, I did watch, because I'm in love with the comedy and the Comedy Store. I did watch this documentary called The Comic Strip about the famous club in New York. I wasn't familiar. But when you're talking about George Wallace, Jerry Seinfeld, Ray Romano, Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, this is the club that Eddie Murphy was showing up at 15 and 16.
Yeah. Okay.
And they talk about when he was on stage, they were like, oh, there wasn't even a doubt. Yeah. And this was interesting, was that with the Comedy Store, he wasn't involved in LA. I mean, he did the big shows, but he didn't do his were just the big film stage events. Yeah. But over there, I mean, they talked to people who opened it up, and it was said that when he went on, it was just unbelievable. But one thing they said that was really fascinating, Jerry Seinfeld
Yeah.
is the richest comedian of all time.
Yeah.
And will always be.
Yeah.
Because his show will be in syndication for eternity. He said one thing, he goes, yeah, you're on stage for 1 hour, but if you're not writing for the last 7, you ain't making it.
Yeah.
And so he took it seriously as a job. And one thing I'm finding, even though a lot of these guys are conceptual, like I doubt that you would find Robin Williams had nothing scripted.
No,
he might have.
He'll take ideas and just kind of
just
hash them out on
improv off
stage.
the ideas,
Yeah.
which is conceptual comedy, which I learned from the Comedy Store. But anyway, to see Jerry Seinfeld as a young guy and Ray Romano, anyway, and Chris Rock.
Yeah.
So Chris Rock got into movies not because of the Comedy Store, but because Eddie Murphy showed up and said, "You got any black comics tonight?" And he wasn't on the list, so they threw him on the show.
Yeah.
And he liked him. I guess Chris Rock just nailed it out of the park. Just did wonderful.
Talent. Yeah.
And went right there and was the valet in Beverly Hills Cop. Remember when he shows up?
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you.
Right place, right time, right there. Yeah.
Well, even
talent.
Oprah said, everyone gets an opportunity. If you're going to go for something, you're going to get a shot, but you got to be ready for that shot.
Yeah.
99.99% aren't.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. Now, it did get the guy who put everything together, who was kind of the manager, he passed away, and they just went on a little bit, he needs to be revered, but to me, I cared more about, it was so exciting with these other, Sarah Silverman too, by the way. So, so anyway, highly recommended.
And that's on Amazon?
That was on Amazon, and it just came up probably it just showed up on my thing new last week, maybe.
Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna check that out.
I'll watch it 2 or 3 more times.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that one out because I really enjoyed the Comedy Store one.
What did you like? Okay, so you know what's interesting?
Yeah.
With the Comedy Store, it's like both of us are like half that show. So in other words, I'm from the first half, and you're from the second half.
The second half, yeah.
But does that make sense? So
yeah,
there was
this
transition where it changed,
and
mostly because of, I thought you would find it interesting with the podcast.
Yes, the last episode is about like the new era of comedians and the podcast game. I think I would say probably my era of comedy starts, well, definitely in the 90s, but within Living Color and SNL and Pauly Shore and all that stuff. So all his movies that they were throwing out, I watched them as a kid.
I thought his storyline was one of the more interesting ones too.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
He seems like a really cool guy though. Too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And watched those all as a kid. Remember him being on MTV and all that too. So
I love that movie Encino Man.
Yeah,
with Brendan Fraser and whose little brother's in it? The blonde hair one, Franco.
Oh, James Franco.
He plays he plays the nasty rich blonde kid. Remember? He's the girlfriend. He's the girlfriend's boyfriend that Brendan. Remember he staples? Doesn't he staple Pauly Shore to the wall?
Wait, is he a Franco brother?
Yeah, there's 2 of them. One's a younger one.
Well, there's James Franco, but like in terms of age wise, I think James Franco's pretty young. I don't think that's a Franco brother. He looks like one. I like that guy though. He's got a couple of good lines in that movie. And he plays a good like high school boy.
Well, the guy Sean Austin is in it.
Yeah.
And they want to be cool. Brendan Fraser just nailed that part, don't you think?
Yeah, Brendan Fraser went on, and really, his career did for some reason fizzle out.
Yeah, he pissed someone off
around 2008.
Yeah, he pissed someone off.
Yeah, he had to have, because he was on a roll. Even he was doing. I didn't even see the last Mummy movie, but it had like Jet Li and all that in it. and I think that came out 2010 ish. I gotta see, but yeah, he after that, man, he for some reason out of nowhere he got blackballed. I have no idea what happened.
You're right. It's Michael DeLuise, but the problem is that all these people look so old now. I don't like. I don't even know who they are. Like, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, in the Comedy Store, I thought that what I thought was really fascinating. Remember, it says that U2 comes, and the Edge, the guitarist U2, asked the guy, "Man, what's with that dude?" He's the owner's son. But can you imagine trying to be a stand-up comic?
Yeah.
When your mom is the queen?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about every single person. And it is right, because the comic store, like Jerry Seinfeld, they're a little bit later, but Johnny Carson's influence in comedy, when you watch this thing, you really realize this guy just wanted to laugh. He wanted to party and laugh all the time.
Yeah. Johnny Carson is definitely he had a whole generation of comics that came through there. And then I would say Leno a little bit, did a little bit and the late night, TV shows. And then now you have Rogan. Everybody just goes, all the comics just want to go get on Rogan's podcast, and then some make it, some don't, but that's the biggest launching pad that they can find right now.
Well, yeah, obviously, and I thought his was very interesting too, with the Carl Messina and the being blackballed, and how certain people couldn't get on stage and other people could. I just thought I really liked it. But also, when Johnny Carson was involved, there wasn't all these other venues in the 90s and different things, and it was just it's funny because that would be my era.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the people. David Letterman, though, there's something. He didn't seem like there's something about him. I didn't like him. I don't know. Maybe he was having a weird day. I don't know personally, but he seemed a little snotty or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. All the stories of anybody talking about how David Letterman is in person and how he is. He's very sarcastic and very not the nicest person. He's not a people person. He's not, on his own time, it seems to not
even to not let the other gentleman quote his joke, that was really weird. Now, I love the show and I've watched it many, many times.
Yeah,
it's a little self gratification.
Yeah,
and that's
it is all about the store, I would say, and then
well, that doesn't bother me. But it just there was something there. The one guy, too many interviews, different things. I loved the stories in the club.
Maybe because he was too close to the subject material, because he knew everybody.
He's in it. He wrote it. He directed it. He talks about his career at the beginning.
Yeah, he lived it.
How he did this and this and this and this. And he's I don't even remember him as a comic, to be honest with you. But
he says he wasn't the best comic. You know what I mean? He was just a part of the scene.
I mean, what a great scene
and movies and all that stuff too. So a great director.
I thought that I just Sarah, what's her name? Her last name? Bernard?
I think it's Bernard. Yeah.
I can't think of her name, but I'm gonna watch her stuff because she was pretty stinking funny.
Yeah.
And it was just interesting. I loved the story about Whoopi Goldberg and doing the one woman play, and then Spielberg in the audience, and just there were so many aspects. But for Pauly Shore to make it where he made, is this not one of the greater Hollywood stories of all time? Yeah. I mean, to come up, it wasn't his mom didn't help him.
Yeah,
no, I mean, you're having to compete against Richard Pryor and Robin Williams and these. I mean, that was just phenomenal. And when I heard him talk behind his mom's desk, I just really thought, man, I think this is a good guy. I've never heard anything weird about him. And think about the lifestyle. Bye. Have a good rehearsal. I mean, think about where he could have been. He's hanging out with people doing lines of cocaine and whatever. Yeah. And I really thought it was very fascinating how he was able to to do that. And I thought some of his stuff was pretty funny myself.
No, it wasn't. All the movies, yeah, like I said, all the movies that he did during that time, I watched them all. Jury Duty, I remember, was one of my favorites. And
what was the Army one?
What was the Army one?
I can't remember.
It wasn't
a long time ago, now, man.
Right? No, I don't know. But yeah, and the fact that he worked really hard. She didn't really, do a lot for him in terms of getting the career. He was just a part of the scene, so that helped.
Well, he was smart to go to other places first.
Yeah, and then he ended up becoming one of the biggest stars of the '90s for sure. Like late '80s, early '90s. Huge.
Yeah, definitely from MTV, the movies, his own shows, stand up.
Yeah.
I just thought and also it was interesting with Andrew Dice Clay. It was interesting how people took over. Richard Pryor, some of the stories we heard about him were fascinating. Robin Williams. So from the show, I Googled Eddie Murphy's first appearance on The Tonight Show. It's like a 35-year-old man. I mean, it's like the most mature, right on. It was phenomenal. I mean, it was just like as professional as I've ever seen first time. Yeah,
especially for him being.
Of course, he'd already been on SNL Live, which I mean, the stress of doing that would be phenomenal. And then Eddie, and then it was funny because his was just contained and whatever. And then Robin Williams. Google Robin Williams' first time on The Tonight Show and watch Johnny Carson play with him. He does the voices, and then he gets up and goes up in the audience and takes over the whole deal. Yeah. And Johnny Carson is loving it. Yeah. I guess I realized that Johnny Carson, his best friend was Don Rickles. And then I saw
as a fan of comedy, like a real fan of, yeah, definitely.
No, that was his favorite guest of all time. And then him and Jonathan Winters, Johnny Carson used to drink and party like maniacs. And Jonathan Winters is before your time, but make no mistake, he's out of control. Yeah. And Robin Williams is that kind of guy. That's his comedy. Yeah. You know what I mean? So anyway, can you imagine those two guys?
I think it was in his book. Robin Williams is a huge fan of him, and kind of that was his biggest influence in terms of getting into comedy and being a
very
performer.
Conceptual, like Robin Williams is like doing theater. Yeah. And where did he go? Juilliard. Yeah. So as a young person, I mean, we hear about these people, but make no mistake, you go to school where the best are, you're going to raise, either you're going to be dropping out or you're going to raise to that level. That's just how it works. And so that's what he did. But I liked it. I really did. And I interviewed there for security. Yeah.
I remember.
And then, you watch the show and you realize, no, they only hire comedians. And my wife said, don't tell them you want to be a comedian. Just tell them you're here for the job, whatever. And the lady even asked me, do you want to be a comedian? No, I said, no, I'm here to do the job. So then we were watching that episode together, or I watched it first and brought my wife back to rewatch it. And they said it and I looked at her and she goes, well, you wouldn't have a job now.
Yeah, it's true, actually. Yeah.
Correctamundo. So there.
Yeah.
But anyway,
true.
I highly recommend it. And the truth is, I've gone back and watched watching it. I've watched Eddie Murphy stuff. I went back and watched some of these guys. What do you think about Sam Kinison?
He was never like my, like in terms of like my go-to for a comedian. I mean, I think the style of my cousin really liked him growing up, but he wasn't really I want to say my cup of tea. I liked him. I liked the fact that like his whole vibe, and I liked his style. But in terms of like the yelling or the delivery or the rock and roll type of persona that he had,
was it because he was so controversial? Obviously growing up Christian and then being so anti. It was Kinison.
Oh, for Kinison. Oh, in terms of what? Like,
well, just his show. I found some of his stuff pretty fascinating. I loved when
No,
he
yeah, definitely fascinating. Yeah.
when he did
The
Jesus,
story.
why do I got to come back, for you guys, whatever. And
Yeah.
and I just I appreciated it.
Or even the story of his death too. I thought that was pretty. Remember that?
Oh
That was a
yeah.
crazy one right there. Yeah.
Well, it
Yeah.
kind of it just it's interesting. Even of course, another spiritual conversation came up in the backyard of Compton, and Carlos was there, and Moses brought it up, and which is very interesting that always comes up. But anyway, that being
Yeah.
said, Sam Kinison was seeing something,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No, this wasn't just made up. He something was there, and he
Yeah.
was experiencing something that would say just seems like you hear all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
thought someone so anti and yet having that same experience, no matter what that is, we're not there.
Yeah.
We can't say. I would believe it'd be God. Other people would say it would just be some chemicals in the brain. But very interesting that everyone's at the same place. And
Yeah.
you wonder if that's what he thought.
Yeah.
So is he recalculating every single thing,
Yeah.
that would be against that? So I thought it was interesting you said that, because I thought that was fascinating. He died so peaceful.
Mm-hmm. It's a crazy story, especially being in an automobile accident and all that. And then, yeah, but yeah, his story and all the stories about him and all the people, everybody's got an impression of him. Um, I enjoyed that part. But as far as him as a comedian, yeah, I think he was funny. I liked some of the stuff that his stand up, but I never really sought him out. I never really like try to watch an entire special of his or whatever. I just saw bits and clips and bits here and
I
there.
would say that would be the same with me. And during that time of his rise, during that 90s, early 2000s, I was not culturally relevant in many ways when it came to comedy and movies and different things, just
Yeah.
because of my lifestyle. But I appreciated that he was an artist.
Yeah.
And someone who became interested in is this Whitney Cummings.
Yeah, she's over the past few years has kind of become established herself as like a kind of a veteran female leader of the pack for females type of comedian. Yeah.
I liked what she had to say.
Yeah.
People said she, like going to Jerry Seinfeld. These people that are doing this, man, they're stand outside. They moved there for this. This was their whole direction. It just wasn't to go out and have fun like mine was and just wing it. They just thinking they were on board 100%. And I love the commitment, the house, how Mitzi took care of people. Move if she liked you. And I really thought a big part of the show that I loved was the whole Freddie Prinze part.
Yeah, I like that too, because they would. I've seen stuff on Freddie Prinze, especially with the HBO CNN docuseries for comedians that they had. So they showed a little bit on Freddie Prinze there, but they showed a lot more in this one. And it's crazy seeing those funeral home videos. Everybody coming out.
Yeah, that was Lucille Ball. I mean, who was? I mean, every studio executive.
I didn't realize he was so tall.
Paul Williams was carrying the casket.
Yeah. And Freddie Prinze was what, 6'2", 6'3"?
He never looked young to me. At 19, when you see that the stand up on the Johnny Carson. So before this came out, in the news was Johnny Walker. Remember, had said that he wanted to kill Travolta or that Freddie Prinze. So then they had the picture. So I had texted Travolta that, and I drove by that. I know it was on Santa Monica, but I know exactly where that condo business. That's where he first lived. But I thought it was really interesting for that guy to have that rise in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And his show, I mean, it was so natural. And remember what Johnny Carson says? He pretty much says, "You're the man."
Yeah.
And he just owned everything.
And he had
a trademark.
Yeah.
His lines,
his show. I remember I never saw his show, Chico and the Man, but I remember
it was huge.
Hearing about his show.
Oh, it was great.
But yeah, it's pretty crazy how like the quick quick his rise to fame went, and the heights that he reached, and then it was over. It's crazy.
Drugs.
Yep.
You know, it's interesting, when I was at the party with Moses, other than it being a phenomenal time and great fellowship and just wonderful, his neighbor came over. And his neighbor, probably a Mexican gentleman, 46 years old, very small but thin in shape.
Okay.
Tattoos, whatever. So we had this long conversation, and eventually we started talking, and it turned out that he was had signed with Don King, and after 4 pro fights, he had broken his thing. He won the gold medal in the Junior Olympics and went to the Olympics. And I can hardly understand I don't know what the word would be, but very urban, street Mexican kind of conversation.
Okay.
Does that, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know what the accent or whatever, but I had this great conversation with him, and he said, yeah, all my friends went into gangs, did drugs, and he said, I'd be out there running, if he would run those viaducts in East LA at 4 a.m, whatever, and he said to me, he goes, if I would have chosen the gang life, I would be dead right now.
Oh, okay.
And I just thought I thought, like Freddie Prinze and the Comedy Store, I love learning tidbits of people's journey in life. Yeah. And I love talking with this guy, because you would be fascinated with this guy's story with the boxing, the MMA. And I guess he was part of Maywood Park. Okay. There's a famous boxing gym there. I don't know the name of it or whatever. But anyway, you would look at him and you would just think, oh, he's just some street, guy, whatever. But the truth is, his story, I mean, he was the best in the nation. And if he wouldn't have had this breaking these bones, he was 4-0. And with someone with that dedication, he would have been a world champ. And I just thought you never would suspect people's inner stories. And sometimes they're the most fascinating.
What did he end up doing with his life?
I just kept it very general past that. But it was, I don't think, where you're living and I don't know what he's doing. But he was we had an interesting talk about ghosts. In fact, we had the craziest conversation. So we started, and we talked about, and I have pictures where I have some photographs of different things. And so we had some interesting conversations. And anyway, I love to do that. But then with the Comedy Store, I love that idea of finding out these little things. And man, I've never been there other than the interview thing. Yeah. Definitely, when this stuff opens, I'm on a different. I want to see a real show. I've never seen a paid comic. Other than on TV. We got to go. I remember. I went not that long ago. I think I invited you out to go, but I think you had to work. Remember? No, it was in a car though, wasn't it? No. It was in an outdoor kind of setting. It was between these 2 buildings off of Hollywood Boulevard. They had tables set up, and it was like a whole outdoor thing. Oh, I didn't know. I thought it was like that drive-in at the Pasadena. No, it wasn't in the car. Okay, good. Okay. No, but it was. They had some good comics on there, and they had some. They had Tony Rock, Chris Rock's brother. They had Bill Burr opened up the show, or he was one of the openers. They had one of my favorites from the night that seemed a very natural, really cool guy was Dean Delray. And they had a lot of comics, and it was a really good show, really nice venue. I think they do one every month or so, or every other month. So we should go to probably the next show, and we'll figure it out. But yeah, really good show. I am interested. But I also want to go to Iconic, because it's like when you go to side note, did you see the Chris Rock thing? My wife was watching some documentary. It just came out recently. It might have been on A&E or AMC. No, I don't think so. No. It has a lot to do with his brothers. Okay. His youngest brother or whatever, Tony Rock, seems pretty cool. I've seen him on like TV shows and stuff. No, not Tony Rock. I'm talking about Chris Farley. Oh, Chris Farley. Documentary on Chris Farley. New one. Okay.
No, I haven't seen it.
And they interview Spade and all the people from Saturday Night Live and the whole deal, and it's just very, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But his whole persona also brought up, where he studied improv.
Mm-hmm.
So he studied where I went,
Okay.
Improv Olympic, and they interviewed the lady who started Improv Olympic, Sharna Halpern. And she started with this guy named D, and I can't think of his last name. He was from Second City, got fired because of substance abuses, came over there, and they developed the Herald. So they developed the 3-part improv, boom, boom, and the finish. But that lady, my teacher, was sick, and she came in, so she taught. I studied under her in my second class at Improv Olympic. But anyway, the whole thing with Chris Farley, another show to watch. I don't know why I brought that up. So anyway, when you walk into Improv Olympic, you see the pictures. It's Mike Myers, Tina Fey. I mean, it's just that.
Yeah.
But when you go down to Second City in Old Town, Chicago, there was old hippie movement, the big rough day cool area. You walk up those stairs and you're going back to Mike Nichols, who directed The Graduate, and you're Joan Rivers, and going all the way up when you're seeing the people and the vibe. It's like haunted.
Yeah.
So for me, I got to go to this comedy shop, and I got to go there because I want to walk down there. It's like when you've been to the Ice House?
Yeah. Been to Ice House.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you walk in, first of all, it's weird how it's in that weird, like, you pull up, you're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
You pull into like a courtyard, like the alley. And there's like, it was pretty cool, even doing open mic there. But you walk in there and you see the people who were there. I think everybody, I think the biggest names in comedy might have been there over the other places.
Or at least went through there at some point. Most of
you're
the
going back to,
past 30 years or so.
To the 60s and 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that vibe is very fascinating. What do you think do you think the Comedy Store is the Mecca of comedy, or would it be the Laugh Factory?
I mean, if you're talking about West Coast comedy, it's probably the Comedy Store. And then probably second, maybe like Laugh Factory, and Ice House.
Have you been to the Improv?
No. No.
That was said a lot in the documentary too. I've not been there. The Ice House is the only one I went in.
Yeah.
Which was really, but what's interesting? So when I was doing that open mic thing, you start seeing the same people. These people go like all over.
Yeah.
And my favorite place to go was the West Side Comedy Club in Santa Monica there.
Yeah, I've heard that one being brought up a lot. A lot of people, that one's very popular.
Well, Neil Brennan runs a huge show. And I didn't know that guy, how really involved that guy did Chappelle with Chappelle. I mean, I didn't realize his extension of power and talent.
Yeah.
Because I just know him as a little bit of the stand-up. But he does a big show right before. Like 2 hours. It's Neil Brennan and friends. So he runs a show and people show up, or his friends, and take off, whatever.
Yeah.
And it is interesting, like they said in that documentary at the Comedy Store. I mean, you'll see a lineup. And you couldn't afford to go see all those people on a weekend.
Not individually.
And they're like
individually, no.
Bam, 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 bam. I love Andrew Jeselnik.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's wrong to like him.
No, I like him too.
He makes me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Like Norm Macdonald did. I laugh out loud sometimes.
I've seen
it takes me so by surprise.
I've seen Jeselnik a couple of times. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He'll just be on a lineup of I was like,
okay.
Yeah, he's
got anyway, he has his persona. But all these comic guys, they're not making money doing comedy. They're making their money selling writing. All these people are writers. Even Jeselnik is on shows.
Yeah.
They hire.
They got to tour. They got to hopefully get, sell out and get a name, end up on a sitcom. Now they're doing podcasts.
Even if they're not, like the one guy, even the guy who was the director or creator of the Comedy Store doc, even he said he was selling jokes early.
Yeah, get on a show, writing team.
Yeah, I just thought it was very interesting. But it was a good watch, and I highly recommend that and the comic strip and Vincent Van Gogh. It's season 5, episode 10. Van Gogh, my favorite
Doctor
thing
Who.
I've watched so far
Mhm.
this year, at least emotionally. I keep trying to watch these Oscar movies, but I just don't care. I
But
just not
when is
want.
Oscars?
Exactly. We're even asking that question. I have no idea. Maybe it's next
Uh,
week.
is it?
I don't
I
even
don't know.
care anymore. I mean, and it's not because of the movies. I'm just so removed. I don't want to see another thing on TV. I'm
Yeah,
actually getting sick of TV.
yeah. That and it's just, we've been so, everybody's been taken away from theaters and just the whole vibe of movies and Hollywood and the glitz and glamour, and plus the shows aren't even the same anymore. You know what I mean? They don't want to put a host out of fear of upsetting anybody, and it's just not fun anymore. So, but I'm gonna check it out. I got to see when it actually comes on, but because I probably won't have
Well, I
anything else
mean,
to do.
here's one thing. I guarantee you that whatever wins Best Picture, Screenplay,
Mhm.
Actor, Actress, Supporting Actor, those movies will be a guarantee watch for me.
Yeah.
But what I'm finding and what I'm watching is that I'm seeing Oscar-worthy performances in films that are not Oscar-worthy, and they're
Mm,
taking the performance and they're nominating the film with it, and they shouldn't be.
yeah. No, no, I agree. Yeah.
And no story so far. I'm only five in, but I'm not getting a story. The No Man Land, which I think might take Best Actor, I understand it, maybe because I'm 59 and
Mhm.
maybe because I've camped and hiked in many of these
You
areas
watched it?
where, yeah,
Okay, good. Okay.
but I just am saying, don't read books before movies.
Yeah, because
Sorry.
I
I
doubt, I don't
read
know how
The
the book.
Queen's Gambit after the show,
Yeah, I don't know how
and
the
it was
book was for
fun.
Nomadland. The movie
It's
was. I
New
like the
York
scenery,
Times,
cinematography
New
was great.
York Times journalistic article.
Okay.
That's how I would put it. You know, to me, it's an
Yeah.
info movie like Rounders.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gorgeous. But I've been in a lot of those places. It's all from a lot of it. It's California. Temecula is where it takes place in the book. That whole
Mm,
area over in there.
yeah.
But there's also I'm hearing a lot of negative push from Amazon itself because the movie does not. It's an expose also about abuse.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Cheap
anyway,
labor, trying to get cheap labor and no unions and
which hey, I'm looking for some cheap labor to work for me. I got dishes, I got laundry. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so other than that, it's been a good couple weeks
Yeah.
training hard for the big climb and then party in Venice.
Yeah.
And
Later next month. Yeah.
but also check out the comic strip
Yeah. Yeah.
because this is I mean, for Eddie Murphy to be 15 and look like a professional, I mean, how talented is this? And his stuff was all voices and impersonations at the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
like,
gonna check
so
that out.
very
Yeah.
fascinating stuff. And I mean, Jerry Seinfeld's right.
Mhm.
Jerry Seinfeld, he goes, I'm only on stage 1 hour. Well, if I have a job, I have to work the other seven and write.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Did you see in the Comedy Store that late night guy who screams and yells? I can't. Brad Huxley or what's his name? He's at
Uh,
night and they were talking about him in the last show. He
oh
says
yeah,
whatever he
yeah,
wants,
yeah,
and he talks about Jerry Seinfeld in his stand-up.
yeah,
He goes, Jerry, what's with all those people? I don't give a fuck, Jerry.
yeah.
That guy was he took Jerry's routine and broke it
Yeah.
down. He's pretty funny. Obviously, he's late at night because he can say whatever he wants, but we need comedy.
Yeah,
If we ever needed to laugh in this country,
especially
is
now.
right now.
Hmm.
And I'm telling you what, I love at my job or wherever I go, if I can make someone laugh, people just have a good time.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to laugh.
yeah. All right, it's a good way to end the show right there.
Yes, that was a
Yeah.
spiritual message
All right.
from Kinnison.
Yeah. All right. Thank you everybody for watching, listening. It's been great to do another one of these and get back on the routine of pumping these things out. So all the best, man.
Hey, good. Have a good night.